Is it okay to be rooting for the new $1,000 LEGO Death Star to fail? It's a question I've been thinking about as I've seen fans react to the slow leaks of this set over the last couple of weeks. It's also a question that I'm attempting to answer in this video, including whether or not I am rooting for it to fail. But as we get into it, I do want to make a couple of key foundational points. The first is that rooting for this set to fail is not the same as rooting for LEGO, the company, to fail. I've been on a lot of forums and chat rooms that I've seen activity where people, I think, might be rooting for the company to fail, but rooting for this one set to fail is not the same as rooting for the company to fail. LEGO has had many sets fail in the past, including such notorious failures as the Hulkbuster or the Black Panther bust. They've also had themes like video crash and burn after 1 year, and LEGO was able to become the #1 toy company in the world when that was happening. So this set failing is not going to mean that LEGO fails, nor is it going to mean that you want the LEGO Star Wars theme to fail. This theme has been going on for 25 years. It's going to continue on in the subsequent years. And the only way the theme fails is if people stop caring about Star Wars, which is pretty unlikely. So I think that's pretty safe. Also, I do want to reiterate that there are going to be quite a few people that are going to like this set and they're going to buy it, and that's okay. If you hate the set, if you want it to fail, please acknowledge that some people are going to like this because they have different preferences than you, and that's perfectly fine. So don't get too mad at somebody for buying the set even if you want it to fail. All right, so with that in mind, why would people even want this set to fail in the first place? That's where I think some context matters. The first, of course, is that this is a $1,000 set. This means something because it's the first $1,000 set that LEGO's ever released. And that's pretty symbolic. Like, you would anticipate that the most premium of sets by one of the premium toy companies in the world would be premium. And that's where we start to see some of this unravel for fans, right? Some fans want it to fail because they're huge into minifigs. And yes, there are 38, 39 minifigs in the set, but very few of them are what I would call CMF quality. In other words, collectible minifig quality minifigs. Not all minifigs in a set have to be the same, bells and whistles and the printing and the accessories as the collectible minifig series. I wouldn't expect there to be 38 equivalents to the Wolfpack Beastmaster in this set, but I would expect that there are a number of minifigs that would rise to that level. And what's clear in looking at the minifigs that we've seen so far, which is pretty much all of them, that they don't, right? And you have clear instances where, C-3PO should have a dual molded leg. You have Imperial officers that should have dual molded dark gray and black legs to represent their uniforms that they've done in the past, right? It's nothing new. They've done it before, and fans, I think, would expect that. Other elements to this dynamic, right, where this set is failing to meet expectations with the minifigs, is that you are trying to, as LEGO, getting people who are collecting LEGO Star Wars to buy the set. How do you do that? Well, you offer them something significant that's new that they don't have before. And if people are into minifigs, again, not everybody is, but those who are, you probably want to give them quite a few new minifigs or something that they haven't seen before. And Hot Tub Stormtrooper isn't that. And maybe Galen Erso isn't quite enough, or the Imperial Dignitary is not enough, right? So you want to give them something, and I don't think they're giving fans enough if you are really interested in the minifigs. Now, the other part where LEGO is, I think, failing to meet the expectations of many fans when it comes to this set is that it is, well, the Death Star. And when you mention the Death Star, you think of an absolutely massive sphere in the sky. You think of a massive sphere that could destroy entire planets. You think of a sphere that could strike fear into anyone that's part of the rebellion. You think of a sphere, right? And we're not getting that. We are getting a cross section of a massive sphere. And so there's this, here's what we think we're getting with a Death Star, and here's what we're actually getting. And it's not rising to that same level, even though that cross section is admittedly absolutely massive and very, very detailed. And in some ways, it makes sense to go with the cross-section. Look, I can imagine LEGO having this discussion with their Star Wars design team and the CEOs that are trying to make decisions on whether or not they want to, not CEOs, but all those people that are trying to make decisions as to what that first $1,000 LEGO set's going to look like. And they might say, what about display options? The $500 play sets that were Death Star were massive. The $850 Millennium Falcon is absolutely massive and hard for people to display. The Titanic is difficult to display. The Coliseum takes up a ton of space. The Eiffel Tower takes up a ton of space. How much room are these fans going to have? What if we made something that hung up on the wall that was something that really would help with the display value? And I get that, but I don't think that was the play here, at least personally. And I don't think a lot of fans were expecting that to be the play. And maybe that's the play for a smaller set that is not your first $1,000 set. So interesting idea, but not a $1,000 idea. Now, what are fans who would root for the set to fail hoping to get out of it, right? I think that that's an important part to discuss here. And I would say that it's important to try to send a message to LEGO that fans that would be rooting for this to fail but are not wanting the set to fail because they want LEGO to fail. I've already mentioned that, but because it tells LEGO that something is going wrong. I believe that that message is to do better, right? To do better with the technology you already have, the things that you've already done with the minifigs and even the builds to make them elite. You're talking about the first $1,000 set that is super premium. You need to meet those expectations. And if you look at maybe a good comp would be Rivendell. Rivendell was a set that was bringing LEGO Lord of the Rings back to fans, and they pretty much went all out. It was $500, which there aren't a ton of $500 sets. And they gave you 21 minifigs. Half of them had either dual modal legs or highly detailed leg printing. You had capes for a number of them. You had alternative sitting poses for Gandalf and Elrond. Like, there was a lot that went into this. They created new accessories for that set. And that's going all out. That is a premium product. You may not be able to afford a $500 LEGO set, much less Rivendell. You may not have that set. But as somebody who loves that set, who's built it, and it's sitting right over there, I can tell you, LEGO may have messed up by not giving us a smaller version of Rivendell, but it's worth $500. I don't think a lot of fans are looking at this saying that's worth $500. That's or $1,000 worth of product for the Death Star. And I think that's the message that they would want to communicate. Give us $1,000 worth of value. Not just the dollars and cents, but the other components of the set that are hard to measure, right, that fans are going to want. And that's ultimately the message that LEGO could take away if this fails. And I say if it fails because, let's be honest, I don't know if this set is going to fail. I think that it has a chance to fail. I don't know for sure, right? I could be completely out of step with the adult LEGO fan community, which doesn't bode well for somebody who makes videos for a hobby communicating to the adult LEGO fan community. But I could be way off base and could end up selling really, really well. And if it fails, we may never know, right? LEGO might kind of keep that a secret. There are only I think a couple of ways we would know that if it would fail, right? And that is if it goes on sale on lego.com or LEGO shelves pretty quickly after it is released, because, well, that's what happened with the Hulkbuster and the Black Panther bust and the foosball table from LEGO Ideas a couple of years ago. That was not very good. So if it goes on sale at lego.com and LEGO stores when it's not Black Friday or LEGO Insiders Days, then I think, that's a message. Another way that it might be, or another indicator might be that it's just not on store shelves for very long compared to what it should be, right? The Millennium Falcon is now hitting on 8 years of availability. The AT-AT was available for 3 years. Other UCS sets have been available for longer. Like, that is a long window for people to buy the set, and they make that window available because people are buying that set, continuing to buy the set. They save up their money, and eventually they get that set, whatever it might be. If this is retired at the end of 2026, I think it's a pretty good indication that it didn't go well, that they weren't hitting sales expectations. If it's available for 3 to 5 years, then there's a chance that it didn't fail, or that it did, but it did just well enough that LEGO didn't have to pull the plug on it. But that's ultimately the message that fans want to send, is to do better, and we can look out for those particular signs. Now, to answer the question of, am I personally hoping that this set fails? Well, the answer is, yeah, I kind of am. And I say this as somebody who's not opposed to $1,000 LEGO sets. I fully understand that Lego was getting closer and closer to that point. I think we all know that it was going to be a Star Wars set that got the first $1,000 label. I think it was going to be original trilogy, and I'm not shocked that it is a Lego Death Star. And yes, I will admit that this is $999.99 here in the United States, but there are sales taxes in pretty much, not every state, but most states. There are, of course, VATs for other countries that's going to bring that price above $1,000. And I would also, yes, agree that the $800 Millennium Falcon that was released in 2017, if you adjust for inflation, would be over $1,000, but that set is still available for $850, so it's not $1,000. But yeah, I'm not opposed to $1,000 sets. I think we'll get there. 3 to 5 years, there will be additional sets that cost $1,000, including maybe one that is outside of the Star Wars theme. So I'm not opposed to that. But I firmly believe, as somebody who's a college professor, that failure is a great way to learn. I've seen this happen with students all the time. When they come in, they have these particular goals, aspirations, and they don't meet the expectations of my class or somebody else's class, right? And as a professor, they earn a bad grade, or you send that message in some sort of in an email, or you quite honestly have some pretty tough conversations in your office during office hours where it's like, if you want this, you want to be a lawyer, you can't be getting C's in this class. You can't even getting maybe B minuses if you want to get into the law school that you want to get into. Or if somebody's failing a class, it's like, look, do better. I'm not going to just give you a high grade because you didn't earn it. You have to earn it. And I think Lego has to earn the support of fans in buying this set, or any set for that matter. And this is a great opportunity. Just like a college student, if they fail or they don't meet their own expectations on an assignment or a class, it's a soft landing. It's not the end of their life in terms of their career or anything like that. They have the opportunity to improve and to learn from those mistakes. Lego has the same opportunity here. If this fails, again, if it fails, it's going to be a relatively soft landing. It's not going to ruin the company, because we've seen them have failures before and didn't ruin them. I would say that they spent more on developing the video sets, the entire brand, and marketing it and testing it and creating new molds for the characters and the accessories than they did on this set and the Hulkbuster and the Black Panther bust combined, right? I mean, they can take the hit financially for one set. But if it is a failure, then they need to learn the right message. And if they learn that message, then that's a good thing. That is something that we communicate as fans. And so I'm hoping that by this set failing, if it does fail, that Lego learns the right message from it and they can course correct. Let me know what you think about this set. If it's going to fail, put down yes or no, this is going to fail in the comments below. And if you want a defense set, by all means. I think it's a cool set. I'm not planning on getting it. But if you want to, go ahead, have that discussion down there. I think it'd be great. In the meantime, thanks for watching. And always remember to keep building together.